What's up, guys and girls? We just got this Lex Luthor image. First of all, Andrew and I are back to talk about it.
How's it going,
Lex
guys?
Luthor, everything we know about it. We just got this Lex Luthor image, and I think faith is restored in Lex Luthor. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Definitely.
At first, a lot of people were up in arms about this. They were up in arms about Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Then we got the Unite the Seven picture. People loved it. Now we got this bald-headed Lex Luthor confirmation.
People were feeling pretty skeptical at first, just Jesse Eisenberg's kind of your dark horse choice, someone who's a little younger, edgier. People thought that he might be playing this sort of punk anarchist Lex Luthor with tattoos all over his head. Mm-hmm. But it looks like DC and Warner Bros. Are going to stay pretty faithful to the Lex Luthor that we know and love.
Oh yeah, I think Zack Snyder has a big picture in mind. Speaking of big picture, actually, there's a rumor that Lex Luthor's going to appear in Suicide Squad. I don't know.
Maybe. Kind of like show up a little bit, talk to Amanda Waller.
Yeah, that's going to be exciting. We're already looking past Batman vs. Superman, which is a
Always.
year away.
Yeah.
But, and then he said he'd love to play Lex Luthor in a Superman sequel, so we know he's going to be around at least. His presence was felt in the first one with Man of Steel with all the Easter eggs.
Yeah.
So we know he's going to be around.
He could maybe even be sort of like the DC Cinematic Universe's version of Thanos, where he's just sort of that big bad that they're going to keep teasing throughout all the lead-up films, and maybe we'll see him, really challenge all the heroes in Justice League as the chief antagonist.
Definitely a possibility, but for what we know now, what we can say now is, well, it's still basically speculation at this point, but
yeah,
some of the stuff we found out, we could talk about that, like the Rally's Diner. We found a set photo from the Detroit Free Press of Rally's Diner, a set photo, and that's from the Metropolis 900 Miles storyline.
Right, yeah, so in that old classic 80s story, Luthor is driving through the middle of the desert in his limo, and he stops at a random diner, and in the diner he goes up to one of the waitresses and says that he'll give her $1 million if she just agrees to drop her job in her life in the middle of nowhere and come live in Metropolis.
I would go.
Yeah, right.
I would go.
For just 1 month. And then he says, you have 10 minutes to decide. I'll be out in my limo waiting. Choice is yours. And about 5 minutes later, Lex Luthor peels off. And the limo driver's like, wait, I thought she had 10 minutes. And he's like, nah, I just wanted to leave now, so if she did come out, I'd be gone. She could then spend the rest of her life in mental agony wondering what could have happened if she had maybe decided a little bit faster. So this is, if they're following that storyline, it seems to suggest that Eisenberg's Luthor is going to be that, sadistic, mentally cunning, very chilling villain that we've seen pretty much since, Crisis on Infinite Earths, where they rebooted the character as a ruthless businessman who uses his brain in devious ways more than anything else, which is a personal favorite of mine, at least.
Oh, yeah. I think that's definitely the route they're going, and I think that's why they picked Eisenberg. I think we should have seen this coming.
Sure.
Because look at Eisenberg's roles and the characters he's played. Social Network and Now You See Me. He was the magician, but he was like this mastermind, really. And in both movies, he's like this manipulative, smart genius who aren't so different, either of those characters, from Lex Luthor. So I think we should have seen that coming. But Lex Luthor, in the grand scheme, like you mentioned, he might be around for a while. What's his role going to be in Batman vs. Superman? Well, we've heard
a lot of things.
We've heard a lot of things, but one that we've heard for pretty definitive. Now, nothing's definite. It's a lot of rumors, but pretty definitively is that he's going to be going around trying to collect Kryptonian artifacts
scattered around the earth.
Yeah, so he can try to beat Superman, and he's going to come across Zod's body one way or another, whether it be through a military contract or he steals it or whatever. He gets Zod's body, starts experimenting on it, and triggers the Doomsday genome, which is in Kryptonian warriors, DNA.
And me.
Yeah. So that ends up happening, and Zod reanimates after being controversially killed in Man of Steel. Reanimates into this mindless,
Doomsday,
death-killing machine. Doomsday,
Yeah, and then becomes the Doomsday we all know and recognize, with the bones coming out of his elbows and eyebrows, and a big rampaging monster, essentially.
So, and we know Michael Shannon was at least near the set. We don't have proof that he was on the set, but why else would he be in Chicago with Henry Cavill and everything? So that could mean that he's playing this part, at least, or doing the experiments on his body, and reanimates, and until he grows into that real Doomsday killing monster with the spikes and everything, where it could be CGI or just a special effects stunt guy, he could have been
Right.
around for that. So then they could go into the death of Superman story. I don't think they're going to do that for Batman vs Superman. They might save that for a Justice League type
if you
story.
killed Superman before Justice League.
yeah. So, but it could make for a really awesome fight scene. Like we got great action from Man of Steel. That was probably the highlights of the movie was the action scenes. So that could make for some more awesome action.
And Doomsday might be that other villain that's been rumored to appear in Batman vs Superman. We know there won't be any Batman villains, but we know there will be another villain besides Lex Luthor. So Doomsday could fit that bill, and he might be sort of that physical force that's big enough to distract Batman and Superman from pummeling each other and saying, oh, maybe we should team up and like help the world out.
Yeah.
Justice League sounds kind of fun. What do you think,
Let's
Superman?
get Wonder Woman and Aquaman and form up a team.
We'll see.
All right, so that's what we know so far.
Definitely.
I hope you learned something. If you have some information you want to share or any questions, leave them in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news, interviews, and clips, and follow us on Twitter at Comicbook.com for all your news about Batman vs. Superman as we get it. Everything else you probably care about in the meantime. Stay up to date. See you later.
Take it easy.